Hello, hello. Ooh. Hello. Okay, that was peaking. That's a little too loud. Hi, I'm Corbin Forester, and it is currently almost 10 o'clock at night, and I wanted to get existential. I kind of wanted to make a video because I look good today, and also because Premiere Pro still will not export the video that I've been wanting to post for the last several days. So the video that I've been wanting to post is just sitting there. It's completely finished and edited and everything, and it's just not exporting, and I don't know what the deal is. I'm trying to get it to work. There's like no memory on my computer. I backed everything up to the iCloud. If any of y'all know how to fix that, please let me know in the comments. A few things. 1, Conan Gray's new album. 2, Taylor Swift's new album. 3, I started talking to someone, and then he wanted to stop talking. So we're gonna get into that. Conan Gray's new album. Here's why it is perfect. Initially, I didn't like this album. I just wasn't really a big fan of the singles either whenever they came out, like a lot of people were. I was one of those people that didn't really care for the singles, but I would have defended them to anyone who was dragging them. I would have been like, no, let Conan do what Conan wants to do. But secretly in my mind, I was like, I don't want Conan to be doing what he's doing right now. If it's good for Conan, great. It's just not for me. So let him do his thing, and I'm just gonna sit back and let him. I listened to it the next day with my family, and something just clicked. Like something in that album just clicked for me. It was giving very much artistic liberation for Conan, and I think that's what made me appreciate it so much. Was it felt like Conan stepped so far outside of himself, and I guess I just set myself up thinking that this album was going to be one thing, and then it ended up being something completely different, which I should never have done, because that almost always leads to disappointment for any fan listening to a new album from their favorite artist. When you think you're getting one thing and then they give you something completely different, you tend to hate that album. But oftentimes I find that those are the albums that grow on you so much. Like at first, you wouldn't believe it, but at first I didn't like Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. And now if you look at my rankings of albums of all time, it's literally #1. It is literally my favorite album that's ever been made. And I didn't like Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard either. But now I love that album. That's my 3rd favorite Lana album. So oftentimes it's the albums that you don't like at first that end up really growing on you. And then a lot of the time, the album that you like at first ends up getting old really quickly. Because that's how Midnight's was for me. I really liked Midnight's at first, and then I stopped listening to it because I just didn't care anymore. And we'll get into Taylor later because we still have to talk about Tortured Poets. But right now we're talking about Conan. So I wanted to start by talking about the album cover. I mean, this is a completely different aesthetic for him. Like, we see all kinds of different colors on his face, and in the past we've gotten very simple album covers from Conan. Sunset Season was probably the most colorful, but Kid Crow is black and white, and Super Ache is black and red. So we really don't get a whole lot of color from his album art, and I feel like that is partially due to the music being so subdued on those albums. When you think about Kid Crow, you think of kind of punk, grunge, like emo pop. You think about songs like Heather or Wish You Were Sober or Checkmate or Maniac. Like these really simple sad songs, these really simple pop songs that, you know, they have a lot of depth, but the focal point of these songs are the lyrics. And not to say that the focal point of this new album isn't the lyrics, but I also don't feel like all the focus is being put on the storytelling this time around. I feel like this album is so much more supposed to be a project, if that makes sense, which is a great thing. And that's why this album is starting to become my favorite Conan album. Super Ache, you think Memories, People Watching, Family Line, these really stripped back ballads, these power ballads, these rock ballads that make you feel fucking hopeless. And don't get me wrong, I love those albums. I mean, I'm a Conan stan to my core. I am Conan Gray, actually. I can put a list right here of all the things that make me exactly like Conan Gray. So we see all these colors on the album art. He's wearing red and pink and blue and different colored makeup all over his face. It looks like a screen print or like a canvas painting of him. It is a photograph, but the album cover is designed to look vintage. He took all these 80s influences and he put them into this 35, 45 minute album all about rebirth. The overarching theme of this album is rebirth, whereas I feel like there was so much yearning and anger and desperation in his past work. This one feels like he finally got everything that he had hoped for, and it killed him. And through that death, he was able to be brought back and transformed into someone higher than himself, someone that has gained new knowledge and new experiences. So we're gonna jump into some of the tracks here. I took some notes. I wrote down different influences that I'd like to talk about. The 80s have been gone for a very long time, so there's no way to make new 80s music, you know? Whenever I compare him to these other artists, know that I'm not saying that he's copying these artists or he's just like these artists, because Conan is definitely original in his own right. But because this is such a tribute to the 80s, this is such a love letter to that decade, you have to take inspiration from these icons of that era. And so just keep that in mind whenever I'm making these comparisons, because I'm saying it all with love and I'm saying it with admiration that he was able to take these artists and put his own twist on that music. And most of these are 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s artists, but there are a couple more modern ones, and we'll get to that whenever we get to it. So the first song is Found Heaven. And at first, this is one of my least favorite songs on the project, and my opinion on that has drastically changed because I finally really delved into the lyrics and understood what he was trying to convey. It really made me happy to hear Conan talk about this subject. So for Found Heaven, I wrote down Cher, Madonna, Berlin, Queen, Pet Shop Boys, and Tears for Fears. And you can really hear these influences within the first minute of the song. These big, anthemic drums and these soaring vocals. It's so Queen is all over this album. Queen, Bowie, Foreigner are and Journey. Those bands, the entire album, that's all I could think about on every subsequent listen. He has not specifically said this, but you can tell, and I think a lot of queer people listening to this song can relate to the subject matter. He's speaking about growing up in a religious space that claims to be about spreading love and spreading positivity and spreading the word of God, but ultimately feeling like you are disgraceful, you are sinful, you are disgusting, you are wrong to your very being for being who you are. And I never thought that we would get a Conan song about that. I never thought that Conan would ever write a song like that, because he's been so private about his personal life, his life growing up. And we've gotten a few glimpses into what it was like in songs like Family Line and Winter. And we'll get into Winter later, which is probably another one of my favorites. It grew on me a lot because I didn't like it when it was a single, and now I really, really love that song. He's said in the past that he planned on leaving his home at a really early age, that he had packed his bags, he had talked to a friend who he's never disclosed. And I know that Conan has asked that we don't, pry into his personal life, so don't go searching for his father or this friend or whoever, because it's not your business, it's his. But I'm really happy that Conan is in a place in his life where he's finally starting to talk about this stuff. He's finally starting to be more open. And he said in interviews that this album cycle, he has felt more comfortable in himself than he ever has in his career, which is so nice to see. I'm so happy to see that he's growing into himself and growing so much more comfortable in his skin, because you can feel it and you can hear it and you can see it in the lyrics. Okay, so he starts with this choir intro. No God above us. Can we repent this sin? No soul is innocent. Everybody wants to love. Wouldn't it have made more sense if he said, can we repent this sin? No God above us. No soul is innocent. Everybody wants to love. That would have made more sense as a rhyme, right? I'm not going to question him. He did great with this song. You walk alone into the darkest night. You'll never sleep until you're satisfied. You need love. You need one. You need him. You'll never get your mama's wedding ring. Father always said you ruined everything, but you begged and prayed, heart unchanged. Now that hits deep, because as a queer kid who grew up in the church, grew up really faithful and really loving God and Christianity, and someone who took those values very deep and lived that way for such a long time, it's so hard to come to that realization that you are what you've been trying to repent this entire time. That thought process that goes through queer kids' brains where you're like, this is wrong. I'm not meant to be this way. Why would God do this to me? And I remember myself praying to God to take the gay away as a kid. So for him to say, Father always said you ruined everything, but you begged and prayed, heart unchanged. It's that universal queer experience of having these adults in your life tell you that who you are at your core, at your very being, is wrong. It's counterintuitive to tell kids that who they are and who other people are is not right. For something that people can't change. And if you want to think, well, God did this to you, well, why did God do this to you? Why would God give you this quality and then not let you into heaven for it? Are you just supposed to not act on it? Because that's not sustainable. I could go into religion and the LGBTQIA2S plus community forever, but we're going to talk about this song because we've got other songs to get into. In the chorus, he says, "Don't be scared, little child. You're no demon. There's a God in the sky. Don't believe him. Don't be scared, little child, of that feeling. You're in love. You found heaven." You are in love. You found heaven. Queer kids growing up in the church, they believe that they're never going to go to heaven because of who they are. And so for Conan to say, you found heaven by being in love, that is such a powerful statement. If there is a God, I doubt that they are going to send you to hell for just being in love. God, to hear Conan say that, it's so powerful, because this is not something that he ever speaks about. If you interpret it a different way, or if he wrote it about something else, all of it's valid, but this is just what I took away from it, and this is why this song means so much to me. So let's get into Never Ending Song. Aha, Max Martin, Duran Duran, and Olivia Newton-John. I wrote down Max Martin because this is like the epitome of Max Martin production. Like, I am so happy that he got to work with Max Martin, and I'm so impressed with the job that Max Martin did on this album. And I shouldn't be. There's a reason Max Martin is credited as the greatest pop producer of all time. If you don't know who Max Martin is, he's worked with Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera, Maroon 5, Katy Perry, Justin Timberlake, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga, anyone who is anyone. He has worked with them. The biggest pop stars of the last 30 years have probably been working with Max Martin. And he's expensive. So the fact that Conan's label was like, yeah, we're putting you with Max Martin, that is impressive. And they knew that this album cycle was going to be as great as it is. The Never Ending Song, I wasn't, I listened to it, I jammed to it. It just wasn't ever my favorite Conan Gray song. But I will say the high note in the outro sends me to heaven every single time. He thinks that finding love is finding heaven, but I found heaven whenever I listened to him sing that high note in the last chorus. You and I sacrificed my adolescence just to waste my time on the edges of your life. But we've grown too close. Now it can't amount to nothing. I hear your voice in the music on the radio, and it goes on and on and on. Okay, so we know that he got into a relationship this past year, which is crazy. I'd thought that he was going to be alone forever. Personally, I also thought that I was going to be alone forever, and that's why I was always going to like Conan's music. And so now I have to be in a relationship so that I can relate to these songs. But you and I sacrificed my adolescence just to waste my time on the edges of your life. So I'm assuming that this is the last song he wrote about the person that he liked in high school. So what I gathered from that, and what I can relate to with that verse, is that this person just took so much of their life that they are ready to move on. But this is like Conan's first real, this first his first time like experiencing these feelings, and so it's never going to like go away. He's never going to stop feeling that. Every time he falls in love subsequently, he's going to think of this first person and how this person made him feel. Okay, so I thought that we were going to talk about Taylor's album. We're probably not going to talk about Taylor's album today. Fainted Love. This song should be a single. Is it my favorite on the album? Absolutely not, but if he knew what he was doing, he would make it a single. Journey, Michael Jackson, Madonna, Pat Benatar, and Bananarama. You can hear it within the first 10 seconds of the song, the 80s influence just loud and clear, maybe more than any other song on this album. It just like immediately strikes you. You're taken back to that decade. It's never too late, Conan. You can still make this a single. So the lyrics: stoplights, a familiar drive, through another ghost town on a Saturday night, alone, so you're losing your mind tonight. And I said, calm down, I'll be there by the 9. Don't you get yourself down, not the end of your life. Don't mean that you're marrying me tonight. And you said, you got it? We're nothing. I'm the worst if you want it. Now, I'm not trying to speculate. I'm not trying to say anything, but it sounds like Conan is writing about hooking up with your ex, which is not something that I can ever say has happened to me. I would have to have an ex first for that to happen. God, this is crazy. Guys, I love this song so much. So Stoplight's a familiar drive. Conan is used to going to see this person. It's just that it's different now because they're, okay. Through another ghost town on a Saturday night, alone, so you're losing your mind tonight. So clearly they're not together. They're not together. And maybe this is like pre even being in a relationship, going to see a person. But for me, I'm interpreting it as this person has broken up with Conan, or the narrator, and they're hooking up now. Through another ghost town on a Saturday night, alone, so you're losing your mind tonight. For me, I think that means that Conan, or the narrator in this song, is being used by this other person anytime that they feel alone. So whenever their heart is feeling empty, or for whatever reason they just like need company, they'll call up the narrator, or they'll call up Conan and be like, I need you to come over tonight. Like, I feel alone. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling the best about myself. I'm gonna use you as a way to fill that void inside of me. And I said, calm down, I'll be there by the 9. Don't you get yourself down, not the end of your life. Don't mean that you're marrying me tonight. So the narrator's perfectly fine with this, but the narrator's like, I just want you in my grasp. I don't care if we're not together. I just need you with me. So this is toxic. This isn't like the healthiest way to deal with feeling alone. I feel like if this is a temporary fix for you, good for you. It doesn't sound like this is entirely a good idea, because it sounds like at least there's one-sided feelings. Because in the pre-chorus, it says, you got it or nothing. I'm the worst if you want it. This person does not think highly about themselves. This person is only using the narrator to bridge some gap that they can't seem to find any consolation for. They can't find that happiness within themselves, so they're trying to use other people to get it. I can't be in a relationship with you because I'm not a good enough person to be in a relationship with you. When your heart aches and it's dead in the night, don't you worry for me, it's cool. It's enough to survive. Don't you worry, I want your fainted love. That's enough, fainted love. Why don't I just throw this microphone? Conan is once again just offering himself up. If this is about him, the narrator is offering himself up as just a person to be used, because at least they're with this person. It's giving desperation for sure. But like, we've seen that in songs like Footnote, where he says, so I'll take a footnote in your life and you can take my body, which we could talk about Footnote all day because y'all slept on that song for sure. But oh my God, that's crazy. And the same idea is represented here. I think he says something like that in Yours as well. Yeah, I'm somebody you touch but never hold. Conan clearly does not know what's best for him, or maybe he does and he just doesn't care. But he's like, I just want to be with this person. I just want to be close to them. It doesn't matter if we're in a relationship or not. I just want this person to want me. Treat me like shit. They don't love me. I just want to be close to them. Oh my God, the cut that always bleeds as well. I could be your lover on a leash every other week, if you please. He's over here like, I don't really mean shit, and I don't care that you don't like me, but at least that you want me. Like, that's good enough. Which it's not. Conan, let's raise our standards here. Neither of these people like each other. Or themselves. And that's what I think the beauty of this song is like, neither of these people are good people. And I feel like songs typically tend to evangelize one side, typically oneself. Conan songs are usually not like that. Conan songs are usually, you're perfect and I am a piece of trash, please love me. This person is not asking Conan to come over because they like Conan or themselves. They're just doing it because it's easy. They're doing it because it's convenient. They're doing it because they don't think they deserve better. Next song is Lonely Dancers. This song also grew on me a lot. Dance with me so we don't cry. La 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 la. Gets me every time. It's so good. For the influences, I wrote a lot for this one. Bonnie Tyler, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Lamal. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lamal or Lamale? I'm pretty sure it's Lamal. Bronski Beat, Men Without Hats, Bananarama, and Psychedelic Furs, which I saw that Conan actually in an interview said that he was listening to a lot of Psychedelic Furs. I'm so happy to be right about something for once. Such a funny song when you think about it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of songs about this same subject who have never captured the true like absurdity of what they're singing about. I feel like that like party culture was a way of escapism back in the 2000s. And so in a way, this song also feels like it has influences from like Gaga and Kesha and, you know, dance pop from the early 2000s. And the post-chorus is literally la, 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 cry. La 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 la. Like, it's just a distraction. It's just a distraction from all the pain you're feeling. You're not gonna get over these feelings from dancing or like going clubbing or drinking or whatever you need to do to get over someone. He acknowledges that they are wasting time. He knows that this is not the healthy or normal or correct way to be dealing with losing your partner. I hope he dies. The amount of times that Conan has mentioned killing someone just because they made him angry or upset or sad, we should start like a support group for Conan. Like, hey, you know, like, death isn't the solution to everything, right? Now, we have a true track 5. He is a Swiftie at heart, because why did he put Ally Rose at track 5? I wrote down Elton John, Bowie, Foreigner, and Queen. Legends. And I feel like those artists like truly define this entire album. So I know Ally Rose is a favorite among many. It feels like a Memories Part 2 to me, and personally I like Memories way better. That's one of my favorite songs to ever exist, ever. But Conan says, I picked you up from the corner store. Your eyes were red and your lips were torn. So much to say, that subject's sore. Now once again, I'm speaking on the behalf of someone who's never been through a breakup, who's never really fallen in love. But I can understand these feelings of knowing that this is probably the last time you're ever going to see someone. From what it sounds like, this person broke up with Conan because they didn't believe that they were a good enough person to be with Conan. And I feel like this song is really, I need to brush my hair. It is bothering me so bad that I look like this right now. I feel like maybe I should have just left my hair the way it was. I personally have been through a situation where, with a friend, someone whom I'd consider my best friend, said goodbye to them one day, and I was like, I have a feeling that this is the last time I'm ever going to talk to this person. And we talked once more, and it was to establish that we were no longer friends, and that was that. And I was right. There is just a weird energy when you know that you're never going to see someone ever again. But I did want to talk about this bridge, because oh my lord, what a bridge. And I don't even care if it makes me sound insane. Stop right there. Conan, we have heard how many songs about you sounding insane and not caring at all? You don't need to start talking about how you don't care if it makes you sound insane, because you have been sounding insane the last what, 6 years you've been a musician? I ran my fingers through your hair and I thanked God to touch the flame. People often talk about their exes as a flame, something that's really exciting and bright and warm, but something that's also really painful and can just destroy and ruin lives. Because I swore necks were made for bruising, I swore lips were made for lies, and I thought if you'd ever leave me, that I'd be the reason why. Shut the fuck up, Conan Gray. Like, that is such a quintessential Conan Gray feeling of like feeling inadequate and feeling like any good thing that happens to you is going to be ruined by yourself. I feel like that's the thesis of a lot of Conan Gray music and a lot of his songs and albums, and the concept that he's constantly pushing is that he ruins every good thing that's happened to him. And so the fact that he acknowledges that this isn't his fault, that he realizes that the other person truly believes that they were not a good enough or adequate enough person to be with Conan, this album gives me the feeling that Super 8 didn't. And I wasn't even the biggest fan of Kid Crow, if I'm being totally honest. I was a Sunset Season girly to my core, and I still am. I will defend Sunset Season with every ounce of my being. There's not a bad song on that project. And if any of you dare disrespect a single song, if you give any song less than 100 out of 10 stars, you're wrong. You are incorrect. You're actually losing your mind and you're going crazy, and you need to be admitted to the psych ward immediately for mental evaluation. So for possibly my least favorite song on this project, I'm gonna kill myself. The Final Fight. I didn't really want to talk about it a whole lot because I don't really listen to it. So I wrote down Phil Collins, Whitney Houston, and Heart. Okay, next song, I'm claiming no one else is allowed to like this song but me. Actually, all of you need to go like this song right this very instant. This should have been a single. I don't care. Cyndi Lauper, The Police, Kim Carnes, I think it's how you pronounce her name, Kim Carnes, Pat Benatar, Kate Bush, and Britney Spears. Britney Spears is not an 80s artist, she's late 90s to current, but it still reminded me of a Britney song. Now you know I'm a wicked man. I bit the hand that was feeding me. It's snapping back like a rubber band. The fear of love is my tendency. No, I'm obsessed. The fear of love is my tendency, and no one else is allowed to tell me if it's right or wrong. Because yeah, I feel like I'm justified in that, and I feel like if I want to be afraid of your love and I want to bite the hand that's feeding me, that's my prerogative. He's trying to push this person away because he's afraid of what might happen if he lets himself open up to love. Like, he's resorting back to these habits that aren't good for him, and he knows they're not good for him, but it's easy. It's snapping back like a rubber band. It's returning to its natural state, even if it hurts. Is it wrong to now decide I miss you? Okay, so what this sounds like to me, since I first heard it, is that he's speaking from the perspective of his ex. Like, it doesn't sound like this is Conan speaking, even though like the lyrics are very Conan, you know, the fear of love is my tendency, all that. It actually does feel, from what we know about this relationship, like he's talking from the perspective of the person he was in a relationship with. I don't know about the now you know I'm a wicked man, I bit the hand that was feeding me. Like, I don't know if that's from his perspective or if that's from whoever he was in a relationship with. And the line left you dancing in the dark it could be a reference to Lonely Dancers. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy. I got told by my therapist that might be what I do. So I know a little bit about self-fulfilling prophecy. But from what it sounds like in Fainted Love, they did meet up a couple of times after they broke up. So this could be like this person being like, I miss Conan, come back, we're not in a relationship, but like, come close, I need you to be with me, I need you to hold me. Didn't think you would understand after all that I put you through for my search for the promised land. I came back only wanting you. Okay, so in Alley Rose, Conan says, if it's all experimental, if you go back to safer things, this person, Conan's ex, went back to things that they were used to, went back to things that probably felt a little bit more comfortable for them, and realized that Conan was the better thing, that taking the risk was the thing that made them feel the best. Y'all, I kind of look like Dream. Don't comment that. Actually ignore that. I pretend I never said that. Production-wise and lyrically, this is my favorite song on the album. I don't care. No one else is allowed to claim this song. No one gets this song like I get it. Oh, next is Bourgeoisieses. This one is so much fun. So for Bourgeoisieses, I wrote Def Leppard. I can't explain why this reminds me of Def Leppard. It just does. Fine Young Cannibals, David Bowie, Prince, and Blondie. I feel like that's a pretty solid list and a pretty abstract list of references to have for this song, but it's very Britpop. It's like it's glam rock, it's Britpop, it's garage rock, but it overall feels like a British pop song. The TV's on, the woman's blonde, she talks and talks of how the rich are wrong. Whenever I think of that, I think of like televangelism or these people on TV that are supposed to be like wealthy and stereotypically beautiful. So this woman's blonde, I think of like a bleach blonde woman talks of how the rich are wrong. Like, it sounds hypocritical, doesn't it? This blonde woman on TV talking about how the rich are wrong. The hypocrisy of being rich. We all know that Conan didn't grow up with very much money. We've all heard affluenza. And so I feel like this is affluenza's grown-up older brother that has a lot more to say and is a lot more educated about the subject and is having way more fun with the subject now, because the irony in this song just mimics the hypocrisy exhibited by wealthy people. They cheat on wives, never pay the price. I'm a low-class guy, that sounds pretty nice. And then the chorus, I want to be with the bourgeoisieses. So bourgeoisie is already a plural word. He's like making fun of that like low-class stereotype of being uneducated, while also making fun of wealthy people and the hypocrisy that comes with being rich. So the men at war, they draft the poor. No time to mourn, I'm on the dance floor. Another Lonely Dancers reference. Mom and dad got my back, but I don't need that. I need a Maserati. It's continuing that narrative of like looking up to these wealthy people who are doing these horrible things and being like, damn, why can't I do that? I want to have that power. It's that endless quest for power. The need to be at the highest part of the hierarchy, that greed that we see so many men exhibit. I feel like Conan does such a good job of portraying that mentality of like, when you're poor, you want to be rich, and when you're rich, you want to be richer, because there's never enough power. Forever With Me, it reminds me of Elton John, Queen, Foreigner, George Harrison, and Heart. Now, someone tell me if this song is about Ashley, because I saw someone say that, and reading the lyrics, I don't get it. But if it is about Ashley, somebody let me know. I've touched on this theme earlier in Neverending Song, but the chorus, I ain't sorry, I wouldn't change a thing, but it'll take a lifetime to get better. I ain't sorry, though I should probably be. I think I'm gonna love you, you're forever with me. And this could be about Conan's recent relationship, but I feel like it speaks so much more to the first person that Conan ever liked. Because, like I said in Neverending Song, every relationship that Conan's going to get into is going to remind him of this first person that ever made him feel this way. Has Conan written far too many songs about this person? Absolutely. It's a little unhinged, but I can't say that it's not invalid, because if like this is the first person that Conan, this is like a coming of age person for Conan. Eye of the Night, another one that I'm not too big on, but okay, so it reminds me of bear with me, Bon Jovi. It reminds me of Bon Jovi, Bonnie Tyler, Belinda Carlisle, Foreigner, and Starship. Let me explain. Everyone's saying Eye of the Tiger. No. Or Somebody's Watching Me. No. I don't get either of those. This doesn't sound like either of those songs to me. This sounds like, what is it? Shot to the heart and you're to blame. You give love in a bad name. Yeah, You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi. And then, If You Were a Woman and I Was a Man. And there's a whole history between why those two songs have the exact same melody, because the one songwriter on the Bonnie Tyler song was surprised that the Bonnie Tyler song didn't blow up, so he reused the exact same melody on the Bon Jovi song, and then that Bon Jovi song blew up. No. And then it also reminds me of Livin' on a Prayer. I don't feel like I need to explain that, because I don't feel like I can explain it. And again, I'm not saying that Conan's copying these artists, but there's no way that you can make an 80s tribute album without sounding like you came from the 80s without sounding like an artist from the 80s. With lyrically, why am I so yellow all of a sudden? What changed? Do you guys like this better? No, this is scary. I'm turning this light off too. Hello. Second favorite song on the album, Boys and Girls. This is probably one of the most sexual songs we've ever gotten from Conan, probably the most sexual song we ever will get from him because it sounds like he has intimacy issues. For influences, I wrote down Aha, MGMT, Troye Sivan. Listen, if you haven't listened to if you haven't listened to the MGMT debut album, you are missing out on great pop music and great electronic music. But like the synths in this song definitely remind me of MGMT, and MGMT already, I feel like, takes a lot of inspiration from the 80s, so that can be a different video. That can be a whole different video. Troye Sivan, again, I also feel like Troye Sivan borrows from the 80s a lot in his music. So now I look too dark and I look too white, so we're gonna turn this light back on. So just ignore those two modern references. It's just, whenever I listen to the song, I can't help but think of MGMT and Troye Sivan. But I also think of Aha, Madonna, ABBA, Prince, David Bowie, and Annie Lennox. Cherry hair, so super Bowie. I mean, we get a Bowie reference in the very first line. Kissed me but swears that you don't know me. You wouldn't care if I fell over and died. Sigh, I'm not the only. I feel like it's a common theme in Conan's song, but he's never talked about it in this way. It's also kind of giving Gold Rush by Taylor Swift. No, but Conan's painting this person to be like extraordinarily beautiful. And Conan is lucky enough to have kissed this person, but this person's pretending like it never happened in front of other people. Like, Conan, I need you to fix your grammar. I've been trying to decode that line for like a while, and that's what I came up with was that this person is pretending not to know who you are. You wouldn't care if I fell over and died. Sigh, I'm not the only. So this person, I mean, it's so funny to me because it really is embarrassing to like someone so hot because everyone wants this person. It's like if Chris Hemsworth was not a celebrity and Chris Hemsworth went to high school with me and the other 200 kids that went to high school with me, everyone would want Chris Hemsworth, boys and girls. No one would look at Chris Hemsworth and be like, he's all right. No, everyone's looking at Chris Hemsworth like, oh my God, that goes to our school. We all want Chris Hemsworth. Oh, I'm having a stroke. Everyone wants Chris Hemsworth. Even the homophobic football guys at my school are like, damn, have y'all seen Chris Hemsworth? Okay, so the pre-chorus. He wants ya, you don't even see me. She wants ya, there's no point competing. He wants ya, she wants ya, like everyone else in your life, that's right. Boys and girls, leading up into the chorus. And so it's like there's no point in trying to compete for this person because they can have their pick of anyone. Anyone wants them, everyone wants them, and they could have anyone that they want because there's no way that anyone would say no to this person because they're so perfect. And I know that feeling all too well. I know the feeling of being like, well, why would you choose me out of like everyone? Because everyone would say yes if you asked them. It's also kind of Love is Embarrassing by Olivia Rodrigo. Like, it really is so embarrassing to like someone, especially when they are so sought after. You've got a face that's technologic. Nobody cares that you're psychotic. Fathers and daughters, all their pants are dropping. I'm not being ironic. So regardless of your familial status, whether you are a father or if you are a daughter, you want this person. You've got people everywhere just pining after you, throwing their pants on the floor. It is so universally felt. Like, I feel like at one point we've all had a crush on someone that is so perfect that it's like, well, yeah, of course you wouldn't want me because everyone wants you. It's not special when it's me. Killing Me, another single I wasn't a big fan of, but I really like it in the context of the album. So I said Michael Jackson, Prince, The Weather Girls, Olivia Newton-John, Blondie, and Bonnie Tyler. Yeah, I'm gonna skip over this song. You know, I feel like there's not much to break down with Killin' Me, but Winner. Okay. Get ready for me to cry. So for the influences, I wrote Elton John, Queen, Billy Joel, and Conan Gray. And I wrote Conan down as his own influence because I feel like this song quintessentially defined who Conan Gray is as a songwriter, as a storyteller, as a celebrity, and as an artist, as a human being. This song feels like Conan Gray because not only is this a pop rock ballad, but it has that essential, grandiose feeling that only Conan Gray can give me, which is why I feel like this was the perfect song to end on. And I'm a little pissed that he released it as a single, because I hate when people release the closing track as a single before the album comes out. Lana did it with Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, but I have it. And I was like, why did you release that as a single? I would have loved to hear that freshly as the closing track, but it's fine. And this perfectly ties into the first song, because in the first song he mentions that he was packing up to run away at 14, and then he starts the closing track with, packed my bags at 14, I hadn't planned on leaving, but you haven't been back home for days. I've already talked about that situation, but the next line is what really gets me. The pots and pans and roaches, they're glad I'm finally going, 'cause even them, they shudder at your name. It paints this clear picture of neglect, this feeling of being a child that is left alone, that just wants a parent, that just wants a father to be there to comfort them, to raise them, to treat them like they see other kids being treated by their fathers. And that goes back to Family Line, where he says, I see the fathers with their little girls and wonder what I did to deserve this. And I'm gonna start crying right now, because I literally don't listen to Family Line, because every single time I listen to Family Line, I end up crying. I probably haven't listened to that song in full in like a year. You don't really want to hear the truth, do you? It's obvious to anyone who ever knew you that all you ever want is to be right, even if... Not me getting teary reading the lyrics, goddamn. All you ever want is to be right, even if that means you gotta lie to do it. The only thing you've proven is that before we get into the chorus, let's talk about this pre-chorus. All you ever want is to be right, even if that means you gotta lie to do it. So I went through this situation with my own biological father. It damages you to such a visceral level when your own father doesn't care about your feelings or validate how you feel, because what matters more than your feelings is their pride. When you are not treated like a human being with real valid thoughts and opinions, because that would cost them their pride. And we've seen, stuff that his father has posted about him, and he's just trying to survive the chaos. It's embarrassing. It really is, to have a father figure that doesn't think of you as someone with real emotions or value. I remember seeing someone comment on Conan's father's Instagram, like asking if his father was proud of how far Conan has come, and he just dismissed Conan's success and took credit for all the good things that have happened to Conan, and still managed to belittle him in the same sentence. And it truly is like a skill to be able to be that horrible and that manipulative and that egotistical, but it's something that I know all too well, and I've seen it firsthand. There's no one who ever has done better at making me feel worse. Now you really are the winner. Yeah, there's nothing that ever did quite kill me more than what you did. Now you really are the winner. And truthfully, when you have a parent that is not willing to take responsibility for the abuse, for the mistreatment and the dehumanization and the devaluing of their own child, it really does feel like a competition. It feels like you have to win their love, which is never the way that you should make your kid feel. Your kid should never feel like they have to compete against you for value. There's this guy that I see at the gym who brings his son to work out with him, and it's so upsetting to see every single time he comes in, he belittles this kid who's probably just a couple years younger than me, who probably can't walk away because it's not a luxury for him. I had the convenience of, having my mom to fall back on, and being able to live with my mother instead of ever having to see my biological dad again. And this kid probably doesn't have an option. This kid probably doesn't even realize that he has an option. But this father's always belittling him and making him feel stupid, and you can see that he's embarrassed in front of everyone, but you can see that his father takes pride in making his own son feel stupid in front of everyone. It makes him feel like more of a man to take down his own child in public. And I know that feeling. I know that feeling of having to compete, of just wanting love and knowing that like you're probably never going to get it, and that you feel stupid, you feel foolish for wanting your father's love. No, you don't feel dumb for wanting your father's love. You feel dumb for the way that you have to go about feeling like you have it. It's a cycle of abuse to constantly make your kid feel like they're doing something wrong at the risk of losing your love. Because that level of abuse, of giving love then taking it away, it's not natural. That's not something that humans are born with. That's learned behavior, and it's a weapon. It's a weapon. People using love like that. Bask inside your victory, my heart that once was beating, bleeding in the palm of your hand. Yet you have the nerve to miss me. How do I somehow feel guilty when you're the one who let it get this bad? Over the years since I've stopped talking to my biological dad, I've gotten several texts from him saying, this, that, and the other, whatever needs to be said to make me feel bad for stepping out. I love the way that he put it. You have the nerve to miss me. Because it's not, you don't miss your kid. You miss having someone that you can control. You miss having someone that looks up to you, someone that just idolizes you blindly. That's what you miss. You don't miss having your kid. You miss having control over someone that doesn't know any better. Someone who's going to make you feel good about yourself, regardless of whether or not you deserve it, and regardless of whether or not those feelings are justified or real. I just think that Conan really hit the nail on the head with this song. It's artistry. It's truly artistry. It's a talent to have been able to express these feelings that I've been trying to pen. It's impressive, and I'm really happy that this song exists. And I can't believe that whenever it first came out, I couldn't listen to it. I didn't want to listen to it because I didn't like it. And I think I just didn't like it because it hit so close to home that I didn't realize how much I needed this song. With that said, thank you so much for clicking this video. This is a lot longer than I was anticipating. I thought that I was going to talk about Conan's album, and then we were going to talk about Taylor's album, and then we were going to talk about my relationship status. So that did not happen. So we'll talk about those things another time. But I'm really happy that we got to talk about this album. I'm obsessed with it. In my personal opinion, it's Conan Gray's best album. If you want to see my ranking, this is it right here. Feel free to roast me in the comments. Feel free to open up discussions with me in the comments. If you have different feelings about certain songs, if you have different interpretations of different songs, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think and what this album means to you. I know a lot of people are not used to this sound. A lot of people don't really like this one, but in my personal opinion, I think that this is Conan Gray's best album. I think that artistically, he's grown so much. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, all the YouTube things, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.